I've got when I want to do it. Okay, guys, this video is very important for me. It's basically a video I've been willing to do all my life, but you know, the pressure of my speech, the way I am, this is why I've never made a video. But I was in that stuff. But basically, this video I'm just going to follow it very well, because it's all the whole Onlydixies philosophy, heart, and soul. Two connections. My heart and soul, two connections to the world. Okay, basically, you said ontology, nature and nurture of being. Are you asking how does ontology what things are, take this project, what we can know about them? Because Bayesian framework suggests the system that observer bias define reality itself. Yes. This is like a cloth and prompt. So basically, what is ontology? Ontology, guys, is my research initiative. It's basically what the whole internal why organisms exist, our place in the universe, how we know ourselves, how we perceive ourselves. Ontology, for me, is very at the core of my being. It is who I am. My persona, heart to connections, is one of what I call polarity. My heart, my person, my heart, to myself, my good heart and my evil heart. I can be good to myself, I can be evil to myself. But that's like, do I have a heart? You know, my heart is just the good or evil, depending on how I'm behaving, how I'm feeling. When I'm hungry, sad, angry. That's just that can be nature. That can be nature. The natural things that happen in the world that affects that, cause and effect duality, and nurture, my upbringing, my trauma, my environment. You know, this video is really good to understand because ontology is the core of this entire framework. Ontology is just not what things are. It's for me, it's never what things are. It's how things are. How are they like that? Because you know, if you think about yourself, you know what your skin is. Okay, basically, let me give you an example. Not my skin. Say you look at an apple, a red apple. The red apple is very juicy. Now you take a bite out of that. It looks very juicy. It's basically like a red apple. It's red. It's shiny. It fell from a tree. It falls from then you look at it. Basically, you pick it from a tree. You pick the red apple. Now, very you pick the red apple. You take it, and then you look at it. Oh, so red. It looks so juicy. Then you pick an apple and you bite it, and then you say, oh yes, the apple. I'm biting the apple. It's very juicy. Tastes like I expect like an apple. Then you take go to a different tree, same apple, but it's a green apple. So you take this apple and then you bite on this apple. When you bite this apple, it's not really as appley as I'll taste it. Because you know, this is me biting an apple. I say this apple is not appley, it's not juicy, it's not what I mean. It's what I meant. It's not from an apple. Now, are these both apples? You know, yes, you will say that, but you know, people will say yes, but you know, I'm autistic, so I'll say no. These are two different things. Now, why I was saying how do you know? It's because this is a green apple, and this is a red apple, but we don't know the term apples. What gave that thing? So the apple is just a word in English. We got like other words. We can give it based on our ontology, the nature of our being. But ontology is just more about, to me, about how we build, how we process information, our real word, how we what, how we when, how we why, how we where, how we when, and that's more about that's architecture as infrastructure. You know, it's about ontology. But why are good questions to ask, but they don't give you the bigger picture on structure over syntax. But we can know about the apple. So now you get so basically now you say, okay, I'm gonna try to get this apple, red apple. What? Give it what? A classifier. It's an apple, yes. Both apples. So yes. Now this is apples. They grow on trees. They have the same process. Go through the process of life, and that they go on leaves, start as a seed. But then you get a tomato. A tomato is a fruit, yes. And apples are fruits. But a tomato is what? A vegetable. So it likes to be on the ground. It grows on the ground and doesn't go too high. But it's also a fruit. So it's a fruit and an apple. It's a fruit, so it can be in the apple class and in the fruits and vegetable class. but it's different. Its nature is different. It's like, you know, if I wanted to ever create an apple from scratch, I have to go, like, you know, from scratch without even knowing. I have to get a seed, but the seed has what? We don't know what the seed's fully made up of: genetics, code, protons, you know. But we have to capture the full information of what a seed is so we can get an apple tree. But you know that information is so sparse and so dynamic. It has to be like, you know, computationally infeasible for any computer to do today. But that's what I'm saying to me. I'm saying that the nature of ontology is the nature of reality. Uh, but you know, it's bound to the nature of reality. So it's not just fully subjective. It's just more interpretive, based on how we phrase ourselves. Because you know, I don't know that the word in French, German, apple, but you know there are other ways you can say this is an apple. So it's basically a limited lens view on the take of the subject. We have fragmented ecosystems, such as countries that change meaning over time. Neurodivergence, but you know that's what ontology means to me. Basically, my senses when I eat an apple, 14 to 7, I get basically the seven senses that I have. Seven plus 7 is what? 14. First sense, sight, taste, touch, hearing. That's the crunch of the apple. The touch of the roundness, the sight, what it looks like. The sight, smell, sight, taste, touch, scent, and one, two, three, four, five. That's five senses, and then my perception of that sense, the sixth sense, you know, open sense, and the seventh, relay my interpretation of that sense. So basically, if I see the apple, red apple, oh, it's a red apple, and this is an apple. Oh, these are both red, and this one's green, and this is red, but they are the same thing. So I then say, okay, now I taste the green apple. Now the green apple I tasted, but you know I taste it's less juicy. So I'll say this is not an apple, a full apple, just a little variation of it. Because then that little difference means, oh, it's not the same apple. It's not the same, you know. Because you know if I feel that taste, if I feel that taste, basically 7 times 7. If I any deviation in information I take in from my senses, gives me a full sense of security of that thing. Because that thing is different automatically. Which is why I don't class the green apple as an apple and the red apple. I know they are apples, but they're not apples to me in the same thing. And the word apple is too rigid to describe the full experience I'm experiencing. For me, this one means to be neurodivergent. Because you know, if I start taking apples, so for basically 7 times 7 is 49. 60, basically 7 union 7 is 9 plus 4. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13, and then 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 63 senses, that's brain processes. Basically my senses again 63 dimensions of process. Because you know the minimum one is 7 plus 7, because you know 7 intake and 7 relay. So for all the 5 senses, the one I experienced, the food, for the inverse kinematic senses, things that I can act on, I can get 14. 14, and the K sense, like a seven senses, and the other seven senses like the normal one. But you know, 7 plus 7 is 14, and you know, 2 to 69. So we get 63 dimensions for processing this kind of information. But you know that means it can be processed so much ways that it's like uncountable. It doesn't really mean that it's an apple. They are one class. It's a static system. It's like, you know, if I taste one apple and then I buy a corner, it doesn't account for all the variations in the world. You know, because you know it's not static. It doesn't feel rigid. In my view, it feels like something is experiences off or cue. Okay. Next question. So this house, basically, the next one. This one gonna also well. Second one, epistemology. Now, if ontology is what I know, epistemology is what yes, how I know about them. But you know that's more of a clarification from verb now question. I won't go to that now. Let's go to the other one. Don't know phenomenological legend. So, say I can only taste the apples in my dimensions. I'm a 3D being. Because I'm a 4D being. But I know I'm 3D world, so I can taste apples and mangoes, so I get 63 dimensions. to taste an apple or fruit or orange or like some kind of fruit that's and then my senses and then I'm in a 3D world, so 3 plus 3 is the minimum dimensions you can have in a 3D world, because basically a 3 to 3 ratio, because this XYZ 3 to 3 means 3 plus 3 equals 6, 6 dimensions. Now this kind of proves thing 3 3 times 3 equals 9. 9 plus 6 is 15. Now 15 is what? Not the union of it. Sorry. Is it basically is the union? This is the union of the fact 9 is 15. So you get 15 dimensions. I can be in my reality, but only taking my X, Y, Z through my senses. But I can interact with up to 15 dimensions. Phenomenologically, because if I close my eyes, this is my consciousness. It's like sting theory matter. So there are 15 dimensions here in the world. My world stood through, but I don't need to observe. I don't need to use them. I don't know how to access them. The access is limited because I don't know. Basically, I can try to go to a meditation state. But down on access some of it. I can try to astral project via the string method. Do some basically I try to astral project. Go far. My march will travel across the planes. But only bound to 15 dimensions, because my world is 3D. Bound to 3D sensory, because I see X upside down. Because I'm bound to this perceptual phenomenological meaning. If I'm basically just the nature of knowing, know yourself, but the nature of knowing other things, which is phenomenological lens protocol to ontology. So for my I can access this the other 15 dimensions because they are there for me to access, but I don't know how to access them because I am already in the framework of the system. What things relate to epistemology? The nature of knowing. Okay. Have my thing stopped? No. Okay. The nature of knowing. Epistemology is the same thing. It's just how do I know what I know? I do know what I know. Sometimes if I can classify them multiple times. So I get I can do one way. Say 15 dimensions minimum. For like access. I can't if I want to access it. And then 3 dimensions for sensory processing. Minimum. Because I haven't doubled that. And that's the minimum senses. So how do I know? How do I know about them? So I can frame this question. Basically, knowing stuff can be done in many ways. But I can frame this. How do I know? How am I sure? How am I sure I know what I know? Which is kind of so much how the system knows. So it's a valid information stream. So I can give you one more. So you can get Morse code. Now Morse code is like repeating patterns, but it's a universalization patterns. So if I look at my riff library and I have Morse code, I can accumulate something that's relaying it's kind of insights to me, but via some sensory protocol that I can interact with. I'm not interacting with, I don't really know to show it is or it is not there. Because I'm saying that epistemology is like I know. I can check I know what I know because it falls into some classification, heuristic classification or lack thereof of it of a structure of some kind of data stream that's sparse and can switch and doesn't break my and I can classify it because sparse just means you can the data can be any form of found, because the apple or the tomato dilemma, which is the fruit or like the fruit dilemma, or the carrots are basically all vegetables are fruits anyway, but they grow them on the ground. The yam is a fruit. About the yam is a fruit. Yes. So the percentage like I'm knowing stuff, getting more insight, but you can use relay, a lot of relay to classify a lot of verb nouns. So the verb noun acts as like the verb noun of this apple, red apple, red tomato. But these tomatoes are classifiers. They're just things I anchor to that thing. Now I can change the term red to green apple, or orange carrot, orange carrot. But it's like the classification of fruit and veg. In my worldview, fruit and veg, because they are the same thing, but one's just more healthy. And easier to grind and easier to process. You can get it from a tree. If you get from the carrot from the ground, you don't want to eat the carrot from the ground naturally. But they are there healthy. You dimension on D minus 9 is a proof of ontology from its basically um neurodivergence for the ontology. Okay. Yes. My this is based on me. My neurodivergence basically I'm basically I believe I was projected from this place from this world. So I believe I was projected downwards because that's my ontology. Literally there was I was in a 4D world. But when I was born, they said, "Oh, we want to give Namdi a chance to be in a 3D world, in a 3D world." But that's how things I admit to you guys, because I felt targeted by my neurodivergence, people that anchored their hatred to me, my neurodivergence. Uh, um, I believe I was down projected from my plane of existence for one reason and one reason in order to make a change to the world, to anchor my purpose, to do something before I join my mates, my 4D partial space. So my 4D world is like 4 times 4, that is 6, 4 times 4, 16. 4 plus 4 is 16. 16, 36, 6 plus 6 is 12. 3, 4, 5, 50 dimensions. So basically, I exist in 50 dimensions, but in this world I'm 36. But when I was born, I have a thing. Basically, I was in the hospital and I was able to see everything in the walls, outside the walls. Because I came my mom's house. I was in my mom's house like fully born, and I was able to process all the information around me. I knew even the breath, everything, but I decided to let it go because I didn't really know why. But I didn't quit on it, so I can see what people, no matter the distance they were in the room, I knew what was going on. But it wasn't me relaying that information to my head. It wasn't me making sense of it. It was me. Someone making sense of itself. So that meant that someone was processing information itself. People, this meant to me. So basically, people processing information. I was like a baby as a child. I was like observing information indirectly into my consciousness. I was like, oh, why this? And when I wanted to turn off my eyes and not see, I could have done that. When I want to just hear this person's voice and make sense of it, But one of my time was running out. So basically, my time was like, it wasn't dilated. It was like time was becoming more linear, less linear. More like because I was explaining everything. I was explaining everything as once. But I just came back to my mom and everything just collapsed. For me, because I just wanted to collapse, because I wanted to just open my eyes and see what was there and start clarifying stuff myself, and everything was easy to understand because it was more in tune with my rhythm, my beat, and it was more from ontology. So basically, everything dissipated into basically all the signals, which I call signals, became noise, except the one that are ontological. I can still access the signals, the phenomenology signals, if I want to, but I don't really want to do that for you guys now. The Frankenstein Jekyll problem. Now, oh, is this thing done? No. Let me just check this. Should be done. No, is it? Oh, it's stopped. Is it? Okay. No. Let me just keep it on. Basically, let me try to the Frankenstein Jekyll problem. So basically, use metaphors. Are you trying to argue that Western or innocence to design or knowledge process? No. So basically, the Frankenstein basically they are not fragmented. Basically, people are not building ontological selves. That's why we have ontology systems. Because if you polarize yourself to the service, being fragmented yourself. So basically, you're the heart of the system. In my framework, ontology, you're the heart and soul. If you're writing a code, you are writing for yourself. First. But people are stressed. People are working hard. People are looking for proof. People are looking for money. But not thinking about how this matters in the long run. Especially when it crashes. So they write code that is a reflection of the spirit and the soul. Whether it's like a business or bank or they write things that don't really align with their vision. because this is about corruption. It's not about corruption or human indignity, lack of thereof. It's about authentic analysis of yourself, your soul. What are you? Who I am. For me, I always ask this question: who am I? What am I still here? Why am I dark? For me, why am I dark in confession? It's like why even bother working in the morning? It's not even about the work in the morning. It's for me. I don't when I look at something in the world around me, I can't fully classify it. I'm touching my skin right now, but my sense of touching my fingers, or like I'm scratching my head. I can't really understand why this is coherent. It's like I don't interpret it as a full stream of information like words, but I interpret it in the minute sense. It's like kind of like weird how I interpret it because I feel like my forehead is sweaty, but it's sweaty. I used to sweaty, but it's sweaty and oily. But the oily is not really good. It's like it's like back. It's like it's like a draggy oil. I smell it. It smells bad, but it doesn't align with my vision of what feeling a surface like my head or my head should feel like. Because I am see my skin is soft, but I don't know what I should be that way. Exactly. So what I'm saying to this is like when I'm building for myself, should I build for someone else ontologically, or should I build for myself first? My heart, my soul, my spirit, or should I just accept this? Because I'm black right now. If I die, they'll say I was a Ghana too. But I think it's not me that did it. It's unless it's proof. So, this is like doing basically the question here is, should we if we could do it, should we? If I can't do it, if I can't do something that I consider immoral, in someone else's framework of ontology, and vice versa, should I? Should I? Because if they think you are hostile, they will actually end you. But because consensus to that system, because their consensus is against yours, in the ontological nature, ontoglia. Five, sparse offenses. He said, I don't believe in defense. It's sparse offense. Yes. Is this your answer for times? Yes. I don't know. Okay, so sparse offense. So, basically, sparse offense is sparse defense is basically when you defend something, you defend it via phenomenology, ontology. But defense is not rigid. I mean, attack is not rigid. So we can find flaws in your defense to attack. So the thing about ontology, the nature of self. If someone attacks me, and I defend myself once, find a way to defend myself. They find another way to attack you. That defense will be useless. It'll be like a useless defense. It'll be something that's new or a new type of attack. If I punch someone, they punch me back. So basically, if I pinch someone, if I pinch someone, they pinch me back. But if I punch someone, they punch me twice as hard. Because they understand that pinching is it's just a simple thing. They can get away with it, but if I punch someone once, they can punch twice as hard because they gain the consensus is broken. The first one's a pinch, the second one's a punch, the third one pinch point first week of first day of the month, June, July. Basically the first is like the ontological response before fail safe collapse. Proactive surety rather than execution. Now, constitutional computing and applied ontology. So apply yourself is the reward. It's like so basically my life has been ontological. I've been looking at myself all the time since I was born. I never debated, what am I, who I am, what do I know, my persona, everything about me. Because if I was born from a zygote, because zygote is when I was born, which I define as a zygote. So when I was born, there was I was growing in the womb. But there was like a me and the dog, just like the male and the sperm. But that's the zygote. The male sperm fertilized in an egg, and the female sperm. But this is zygote model. Zygote model, because I'm thinking about the models now. So if I'm a man, if I'm a young boy, then why do I have autism? And other people don't. Because what's clarification of my neurodivergence? What makes me flexible? But my explanation, my hypothesis is like I got fertilized, but it's not my I'm not a problem. It's not my dad's side. It's my mom's side because my mom's eggs was something wrong. But my dad actually corrected, and I became more bipolar, autism, ADHD, Asperger's, learning severity, because there was some kind of misalignment with the intent of the system between the gametes. But the gametes, I didn't have basically. I was basically for me. I'm reflecting on myself because I get to observe the stream of consciousness in the real time of the womb. Because I was able to see stuff like navigate. I was basically going in places. I was like it started off from a duty basically. When I just like this is like a pop in reality. I just popped into reality. If you don't believe me, it's like when I got fertilized, it's like pop, pop, and then there was a silence. 1D point. Oh, and that 1D point become grew. I started seeing the 1D point, and then zoomed out, and then I dived in 1 point, and then basically pop, and you just like a little X-ray, and then I was in like a light sleep, a small sleep, and then I said, oh, I'm in the egg. Then let me go ahead. But that's my mind growing my fetus. Basically, for me, this represents my the zygote problem, because why do we well, basically zygote problem is just like let me see what the minutes has passed. Oh no no. Okay, the zygote process. So the zygote is a gametes meeting. Gametes meeting. It's not even about a gametes meeting. It's if something's new, it can look itself in that framework of the 3D world it is in, but not but producing the question of us. Uh, it wasn't like a real. Obviously, as producing. So it was more of the 3D world was there, but I came in there from the 4D world reality because I popped into the 3D world, so I wasn't. It was basically that's how I felt, So that was like some kind of wave, some kind of sparsity, dimensional reduction that popped me into this reality. But I grew as a fetus, and I could observe my surroundings. Literally, I can go out to people's minds and see stuff and go farther in time, as far as my consciousness can stretch, you know. But I was being bootstrapped backwards, bootstrapped in a way that was like, trying to make me more human. I mean, like, make me more this kind of person. So I could like go back in time, because trying to think back in time. And every time I thought back in time, I can access things that happened in the past, like breakthroughs, work, people's history of world. But people don't believe me, so I don't have proof for it. Yes, but this is what I call the encoding of the zygote problem. Because I'm thinking of if I have an ear system, consensus is given to the ear system to act on an observer. But the ear system's reality is only computational. No matter how the ear seems, you can use logic, but it's rigid rules. But if you give the AI full consensus to build its own utopia, what would that look like? What that look like? To me, that's what that means. If the zygote is perfect, what is the computational reality of the equivalence format? So if you give it freedom to use all the web interfaces and all. But, why I say this is because for me, if I can try to build my own utopia and stuff right now, and have my bubble around me, my bubble three, so I can never pop, no matter I never die because my bro keeps growing and growing and growing, and I become an embryo, a man, go to 1 to 3. Basically, pregnancy, basically, 1 to 3 is pregnancy, 3 or 4 is to 5 or 6 is another pregnancy of the embryo, 6, 7, 8. 7 to 8. Wait, sorry, 8 to 9 is when you can get born. We can get some get born 7 because they're very good. But this was my cycle of it. So if you go to the embryo system, a lot of there's 1D darkness, 1D darkness, 1D space, 1D spatial noise, signal to noise, coherence. Because the signal was becoming noise and the noise becoming signal. I was becoming more aware of my going to places and using my mind. Basically, I was trying to go. I was thinking a lot of things just in that embryo. But it's the kind of model quick for me. So I was trying to explain to me I'm not a problem because it means my mom's eggs that's wrong. Because I'm the male. I'm a man. If I ever tell a woman that will be my dad, there's a problem. Something wrong with his male sperm, and I became autistic and neurodivergence. But but there's no thing wrong with neurodivergence. I'm just saying I'm not autistic. I'm not different. I'm just saying I'm more flexible because I don't like the term neurodivergence. So there's nothing wrong with me. but there's something up with the process of this perception I had that carried me weight as a child. Because I don't know, people don't have these kind of experiences of bootstrapping their own consciousness. They're not aware of the meta state being born, which is why I'm really interested in this 4D sparsity one for 3D recognition. Let me see what I've got this now. Yes, yes. Five. Five. Oh, sorry. Okay. Five. Wait, sorry. Constitution. Okay. Okay. Constitution completed. This is a stop. This is stop this now. Oh, 3 minutes. It's not even done. Five. Wait. Sorry. Five. Okay. Let me just go here. Okay. Sure. Okay. Okay. Basically five. What is type? Computation as applied to ontology. Is your proof of the ontology is just philosophical or is it infrastructure? It's both. It's both. It's philosophical because we have to look at into being to address any real world problems. But philosophy is just not really good. Basically, I love Greek mythology. But they have a lot of philosophical problems, but all the philosophical problems are not taken into account because it seems dense. Dense. I look at like the dragons, three dragons, those are like epistemology questions that of nature, nurture, being, real world things, and I found a lot of solutions in them. The mermaid, Medusa, and all that. So those things are ontological problems already. Because if you can see you, she turns to snake, you turn to snake. It's snake, you turn to snake, it's turn to stone, and you can start a statue. Why is her gaze? Why is Medusa's gaze unique? And why does her beauty? How is it? Why does her gaze? And only her gaze, because she's powerful with her gaze. Turn men to stone. To turn men to stone. What's the backlog? Why does she have the power? And what does that mean for women in nature today? Women in seas who have that gaze. Is there a real world example of the reflection of the ontology to of this case in the real world of a man gazing, woman gazing, making a man dead? These are called what are they called? Death. They're called something Madel. Something Madel. Madel's kingdom. Women that can kill people. Femme fatale. These women are dangerous, but they're beautiful with a danger. They do it in an elegant way, like the men, the serial killers, but they are femme fatales. Which I love femme fatales more because they're more aligned with my my view on the on women's nature and the nurture duality. Okay, part one, foundational condition. What is the difference between being and becoming in your framework? Okay, being is can be survival or living, but being doesn't serve a purpose. It can be a purpose. It can be alive, but you don't have a goal in mind. It's like if anybody took all his sensory stuff, you can't observe the reality, your reality. You're just being, but you get things done whether you do it on purpose or not, but you're like an Alzheimer's or something like that. You don't fully comprehend your reality. Then you are being, you are in a state of alive, and you're a being in that note. Becoming now, becoming is you have full sensory preservation, and you can act on your own intent and your own accord. You don't need anybody holding your hand. It's more of you finding, trying to navigate yourself and not be misled by someone. So being and becoming are two different things. The goal, okay, basically, you calculate neurodivergence, dimensional or DDD. What is dimensional ontology? Not mathematically. What a dimension is being in. Yes. Basically, my human framework decision. So you get 14 to 14 matrix here. So 14 times 14 is what? 14 times 14. 14 times 14. 14 times 14 is what? Oh, sorry, not 14 times 1. 14 times 14. 14 times 14 is 14 times 14 is 196. Now 14 plus 14 is 28. 28, and that's 28. That's like 196. 8 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 9, 10, 11, 12, 2, 12, 2, or 2, 244 dimensions. For instance, it's like a, so if I have like a, basically, I believe I'm from, I have dimensions 14, minimum, because of this thing I said, a 4D. But I want to structure it to the 4D dimension, yes. So basically, if you model this as a tensor, the 4D dimension is a tensor, you get you get two pairs of matrices. The XYZ pair, XYZ by 3 by 3. So basically, you get a four-dimensional, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, let me try 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Basically, you get a matrix of a dimension. For 4D dimension, you get a dimension of 1, 2, 3, 4. You basically get a dimension of basically get a 4D matrix, which is a 4 by 4 matrix. One, which is a 4 by 4 matrix, but 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 16 total dimensions you can access, which are just numbers 1, 2, 3 in it, which mean x dimension, y dimension, and z dimensions. Where 3 is just the maximum number you can get. I want to say to you, this dimensions, 4 times 4 is 16 dimensions, maximum. But it's not n times minus 1, because the ontological nature of this processing for the unit time, because ontology is dimensions mean ontology. Dimensions just means the spatial plane I am in, and how my senses right now in that common frame can be amplified to focus on that access some kind of thing I can act on, and without reaching a paradox, without creating a paradox in the whole universe. Because if I have a paradox, means that I'm not meant to be in a dimension, and I'm lost. So basically, I become crazy. Someone takes on my body, like a money hike. But ontology for that just means if I see something, can I act on it? Am I allowed to act on it? That kind of epistemological question. Seeing, doing, being, you can do all of that. But the dimension of the access has to ensure the whole dimensions don't align with their own objective. Why Bayesian specifically? Okay, Bayesian works. Basically, Bayesian allows computers to basically get Bayesian intelligence infrastructure. But Bayesian allows us to compute a math, because if I have like some kind of dimension, I want to access a dimension with a dimension. My dimension has a dimension 7 times 7, which is 3 dimensions. That's my dimension of taste. 3 by 3 is what? 3 times 3 is 9. I have dimensions, but if I have basically, I want to 15 dimensions of access at a time in parallel. But at a time in parallel, I can be in one dimension and jump to another dimension. So it allows me to do that probabilistically without causing a paradox. Can you give a concrete example of how OBI housing claim different from UK? Yes, ontological Bayesian infrastructure. Basically, it's like the current use. Basically, I'm thinking of the system of the ontological Bayesian system. These are because they're Bayesian, they work on probability. So if I don't, let's say like a trie-DAG consensus processing. So the it's like trie-DAG consensus model. If I don't do something once, I'm not in the wrong. I made a mistake. It's a mistake. If I then continue, then statement, then I continue to not do those things, I probably forgot. Now the at this point will just pick it up and say, oh yes, done, you done it, I've done this for you. Then you can get on your day, and I will not have to worry about tomorrow, continue tomorrow. But if I do this and then continue tomorrow, they wouldn't give us help 3 times. We'll fix the problem. Because intelligence enough to think about my infrastructure, my surrounding. Because this is a dirty bin. I put the bin out dirty. I put it like a rubbish bin. I put my bin bottle, my Coca-Cola bottle, my Monster bottle in the bin. Vice versa, and it's like a dirty bottle. And the dirty bottle just does put it wrong, and system can collect it and say, okay, Namdi's gone. Let me try to correct his mistake, because that's what I'm saying to do. So as I to do, because if I don't correct his mistake, he'll come back and will be do some more work. Because it's about ensuring that the system, for me, I have a bed here, but this bed is dirty. So this bed can be tidied when I need to sleep. 2 to 1 to 1 mapping. But you have to ensure that I'm ready to sleep. In case I want to use the bed. So it can I can put away a better way. Because a lot of people tend to put themselves away because you don't need it. You need more space when you're in your day. For example, if I have something like a bed and the bed I put away 2 to 1 mapping. 2 to 1 just means two inputs A and B. A and B go in to A, and then that becomes a one output. So 2 to 1 mapping. So data is output, data coding, then it's a function mapping, and then that one input. If you get one input and get 2 outputs out, so see like it's a 1 to 1 ratio between the two. You can start with a 1, 2 to 1. I'll start with a 2 1 2 2 1 1 2. Because if I do something once, basically if I have a function that has data once, I get 2 outputs. Those outputs will be mapped to the functors, 2 functors, and those 2 functors will be passed out of data to the next 2 functors and become 1 output. But that's more sustainable probability measurement. Using if then gated policy, if then else, if then for foundational and aspirational goals. Okay, let me just try to get this done. 40 minutes. Okay, I go now. Can you give a yes? You could basically the big comparison. What's ontology debt? Basically ontological debt is like I'm trying to get this because it's kind of basic right now. I don't want to use more constitution. So basically you are not in debt. You are allowed to breathe, but people are allowed. It's like MUK journals, MMUK or journals. The ontology just like if someone calls it a harming constitution, it just calculates automatically via the online debt creation system, like moneyclaim.org. Oh, it's still recorded. Yes. Moneyclaim.org. So that's what I'm saying. The ontology is just people write in their diaries that something went wrong. The MUK journals and the MUK journals allow you to collect the debt because you upload that to the service and that debt will sort it out and then to stop malpractice in the constitution itself and deter it. You said breathing is optional. What is optional? Yes. Basically, the breathing is not optional, so you can have like a allotment to land in your park, in your compound. You can have like a cooking land, a fertilized land, because this is where everything is going. You're meant to be there, self-sustaining ecosystem. The system can breathe itself, because you have like you have like you want to cook carrots, you want to cook vegetables, and then you want to cook what vegetable farm. You want to have a farm, mini farm. You can own things at a mini farm in there. I have chickens, cook chickens, you can cook eggs, you can make them right there in the mini farm, and the chickens be happy. You can have pets and dogs around there. That's what you guys should have. You don't want you guys to fragment anything going to work for this, because if your breed actually going to systems that don't sustain you, you're paying money, you're going extra, you're not doing your work. Because I said to you, there's 12 hours in a day. There's 12 hours in a day because 12 and 24 are invariants. 12 to 1 the same thing, but they're going all the way. So 6 hours I want people to work a maximum 6 hours a day, which is half day. Children can work 3 hours maximum because that's half of 6. Survival is an option. You can eat. Obviously, breathe. Basically, you get breathing. Breathing is like breathing, doing what you love your work, and then doing things you actually enjoy, and then survival. So breathing, you get breathing and you get breath. So if you breath once, you are just minutes breathing. If you breathe and you breathe a lot and you have fun, basically I'm building authentic avatars for people to want to live together and work together. Survival is not optional. So when you survive, you're just alive. But when you're alive, when you're not surviving, you are living. So you're gonna live a little bit. That's where the 2 to 1 gating system can help you manage your cycles of working, so you don't become unalive. Then something bad, something happens. It allows you to breathe more. Two work a day, one break, one break all day. One day because it allows you to align with your ontology or your nature of being on that state of bed. Can we close this now? Oh, okay, for the 3 minutes. Okay. Now, basically, if it goes on 3 minutes, okay. Part 7. Oh, you breathe an option. Okay. What's your oral cell if I want to? Phenomenological memory. Okay. Basically, oral cell phenomenological memory. Basically, you got pheno memory nil. Now, phenomenological memory is like nil. But nil means what? No type. You can have nil as no type, no value, no memory. But oral cell 512, 514 is like the one I used. It's a seal of fate. So we have phenomenology. You have like things that fragmented systems. So if an algorithm can track something, like an algorithm, specifically, and also like it's like a zip file, zip file, GitHub.com, zip file. You seal it, and then you upload the file because you have to change that, make sure that it's not tampered. And that two. So all I see has a two public key, and two private key, or two private key. So if you have like a memory system, so basically it allows you to extend the system. So it's like it's like a nanoid. So you can have like a nanoid extension of it. So you can like left like a little y, and that y can be the ends of the nanos, and then you can use an enzyme to break that nanode, break those and break the here, like and break the food down, and you can use a nanode something to join us. I think it's a nanoid. No. Sorry, the nanos are just the things that join it, that the stems that grow outwards. But something else that binds it. So something you can bind up that binds the genes, the joiner. Let's call it the binder, and that binder is not the enzymes because it does the opposite. What's it called? So we get the binding. So basically, what I'm saying to you guys, the goal of this is to have the system grow as a tree together. So vacuum, so it doesn't break down. So the formation is just to show that the memory of the codec system is can understand what it's saying. So when we combine to other stuff, you retain memory of the biological system. Anything else? Why was research be different, bro? Yes, the research was different, bro. Because that's what I'm sovereignty. Because I'm witnessing my state and I'm looking at premise and breath from. The premise of birth must be reflect the BFN system according to this. It must be done according to what I already know and how the problems are there. So look at that at my ontological level, based on what what I envision for it. It's about full immersion with the state of surrounding of that place I call Biafra. Because if the system is fragmented and people are struggling and dying, but I don't want to be accounted for that. So I'm trying to grow again. And I'm 2025, so I'm trying to go back to my country. I'm 1 years old. I'm going to work with a tourism. I'm going to try to breathe the land and try to integrate myself seamlessly into society that I call Biafra. So I can solve the crisis that the suffering I see there. And I was a child and I've lost context because if I lost context, I want to go back. I want to go back to see what it was before. Okay, thank you guys. Record and stop recording. Oh, active.